Hello and welcome, fellow Rebel developers. Those are game developers, game engine developers, art developers, audio developers, and anyone else who is out there to make video games. You have Marcel
Hiya.
and Daniela. Hello. And I would like to hand over to Marcel, who will be able to talk us through the more recent changes and keeping Rebel up to date and what has happened since last time before I dive in.
So I think we've made a lot of good progress in the last couple of weeks with regards getting Rebel to the version 1 status, which will be a great milestone to get to. You'll see there's been quite a few big pull requests that have been merged recently, mainly around applying the Rebel branding to the various sections of the Rebel display and code and things like that, so that we can better understand and where Rebel's from and what Rebel is all about. We've also recently upgraded the Android versions so that Android will comply with all the latest Android updates from the end of the year 2024 updates, which then kick in by July to September. So you need to use the latest SDKs, or at least not ones that are at least 2 years old. But we've brought it up to date to the latest SDKs, software development kits, so that Android games and things like that can be easily updated and pushed out to Android Play Store. As well as updating the NDK, which is the native development kit, which is the basically the compiler that we use to compile the native code for Android, so that when you're running Rebel engine on your phone, the software that it's compiled with is using the latest compiler and all the optimizations from there as well. Haven't actually done any testing to see whether there is any significant performance improvements with the latest NDK, but I'm sure there has been something there, so we can do that kind of benchmarking when we've got more time. But it's definitely better to use the latest optimizations that have been created within the NDK and the compilers and compiler groups. And it's all the kind of thing that we want to do with Rebel, is bring Rebel up to date so that we're using the latest software, that we're using the latest third-party libraries that we use, that we're using the latest compilers and compiler optimizations. A lot of the stuff that, the code that we used is stuck in the past. I know, for example, that the C++ version that has been used for Rebel is still stuck on version 2011, so C++ 11, which, as we can work out, is 14 years old. There's a version 23 that's recently been approved and is now the current standard, but we haven't even gone to 17 or 20, which are the intermediate steps in between. And all the benefits and optimizations that are there, which Rebel will need to be updated and fixed to be able to use going forward. So these are all small steps, and there's a lot of steps in the background to improve the optimizations from the code and the compilers and the libraries and things that we use, but they make our games more efficient, more effective, and better going forward. So it doesn't look like much on the outside, but it's a lot that's been going on underneath the hood.
Yes, and thanks for all the changes and keeping us up to date and moving the project forward as a whole. It is so important. And as Marcel said, there's some areas where we still need to sit down and test things. If you want to get involved, get in touch. We always welcome people to want to get involved to help us move the project forward. Of course, your name will be listed as well as a supporter and a contributor if you do anything at all with us. So do get in touch if you want to support us, or if you want to just hang out at the friendliest FOSS game engine that there is.
Yes.
And with trying to be friendly and helpful, just a quick note from myself on the training program. So it stalled a little bit simply because I need to learn how to edit videos. It's all nice and good having a plan, but if I can't actually turn it into something that you can look at, that's where it ends. That's where I am at the moment. I should be over this hurdle shortly. I'm hoping that the Easter break will give me a little bit of extra time, or at least a couple of days off, where I can sit down and go through that. Again, if you would like to help, if you have those skills, then get in touch and we can have a chat about it. Also, if you would like to do the voiceover, get in touch. I know my accent. Oh, I'm not accent free, say it that way. So if you want to have it narrated by yourself, then please get in touch. I'm not too proud to hand it over to somebody else. Again, your name will be on there, your voice can be on there, and if you want to, your face as well. That was it from me, the update so
I
far.
think it's also talking about contributors. I think it's also worth pointing out that we've had a lot of translations being added to the Rebel engine
Mhm.
documentation and code and the API specifically that have been going on. And we're very grateful to those contributors that are making Rebel available to people who don't speak English. And just it's an amazing amount of work that people have been putting in, and immense amount of translations that have been done. And I know that takes time, going through literally thousands of lines of API documentation and translating that into their own language. So that's worth mentioning and pointing out. And it does remind me that we do need to update the contributors list that's part of releasing version 1, so that we've got all the people that have contributed to version 1 listed within the contributors list. And as you said, it doesn't matter what you contribute, whether it's code or documentation or translations, graphics, or whatever it is that you work on, it will be recognized. We don't just recognize developers.
Yes, yes, it's very important to point that out. So, and just going a step back again, Rebel Engine or Rebel Toolbox is here to allow people to make games. So first and foremost, we're looking at game developers to tell us what's wrong and what they would like to see, first and foremost. But we do realize that it's not only the game developer or game developers that make a game, as I mentioned earlier, visual artists, audio artists, um, there's a whole host of people that can and do contribute to video games that I'm not even aware of. So anyone who has any feedback, get in touch. We're more than happy to hear from you and take your feedback on board. We may not be able to do something about it immediately every single time, but we definitely will look at it. And as we said, you can contribute and collaborate yourself so that you get what you want out of it.
Exactly. And I think, again, these community events are where people can come and just voice their opinions about what they want to see in not just Rebel Engine, but Rebel Toolbox in general. So it includes Rebel documentation, as well as the Rebel assets marketplace that still needs to be completed and set up. So anybody who wants to contribute on that same side of things will allow other people to also be able to sell stuff, their assets. So if you're an asset creator and you don't want to just give your assets away for free, we'll provide the platform where you can sell your assets, and we can have that trust for people wanting to buy assets for Rebel on the Rebel marketplace.
Yes, very important as well, because not everyone is joining a community as a hobby. Some people use it as a day job. So everyone is welcome here. Um, we do want to include everyone. Just a quick note. Yes, DEI is very important, especially the diversity aspect, because diversity is out there whether we want it or not. I do want it personally. I think it's very important to have different thoughts and different ideas and different visions of how things can become better. And things become better if everyone gets a say. So,
Exactly.
so do feel free to join us. Give us a go, basically. Go and have a chat with us, especially if you think that other groups that you may or may not have been part of in the past may or may not be to your liking. So
Yeah,
anyone who thinks they are underrepresented or simply have been treated really badly in other groups, feel free to create yourself a little home here.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
we are starting out at this point in time. We will be able to put a little bit more time towards this project. So join us early and create it the way you want to see it as well.
Exactly.
What else?
No, I think that's it for this week, or this month rather.
It was a quick update this month. As I mentioned, the Easter break, irrespective of whether you're religious or not, in some countries gives you apologies. It gives you a little bit more time. In my case, as I mentioned, it will be used to get over the hurdle of creating the training videos of how to get started with Rebel. Any skills are welcome. If you don't think you have the skills and or you don't think you have the time, money is good too. You can always support us. We do have running costs for the website for getting Rebel out to everyone who wants to use it. We would appreciate any amount that you can spare. Again, it is a very inclusive little community at this point. We want to grow it, and we want to provide people with the best and friendliest FOSS community games engine that there is.
Exactly.
Good. Since there's nothing else, I don't want to waste your time. Join us again on the second Tuesday of the month in May. I will be putting out notes on our website and also on our Mastodon account. I will mention it on our various channels on YouTube and Patreon as well. So we will see you then on the second Tuesday of May online with us. See you then. Bye bye.
Bye.